Hello and welcome back to the Appiah Counseling Podcast. Every so often, we'll find ourselves asking questions that don't have simple answers. Well, today's question is one many people quietly ask themselves, often late at night or after replaying the same conversation for the 10th, 12th, 15th, 20th time. Can you stop overthinking? Let's explore that together. If you've listened to the previous episode, you remember we talked about the difference between solving a problem and overthinking it. Recognizing the difference is one thing, stopping it is another. You may have had this experience. You tell yourself, stop thinking about it. For a few seconds, it works. Yeah, well done. Good job. Then your mind quietly returns to the same thought, the same conversation, the same mistake, the same worry about tomorrow. It's frustrating because it can feel as though your own mind isn't listening to you. So, can you actually stop overthinking? Perhaps the first thing to say is that overthinking isn't usually a bad habit that appears for no reason. Very often it's an attempt to feel safer. Think about that for a moment. When you replay a conversation over and over, what are you hoping to achieve? Maybe you're trying to make sure you didn't say the wrong thing. Maybe you're looking for reassurance that you haven't upset someone. Maybe you're trying to predict what will happen next so nothing catches you by surprise. In other words, your mind isn't trying to make your life difficult, it's trying to protect you. The problem is that protection can sometimes become exhausting. Imagine checking that you've locked your front door. You check once, then twice, then a third time. The check-in isn't really about the door anymore. It's about trying to reduce uncertainty. Overthinking often works in a similar way. Each new thought promises certainty, but instead of giving you an answer, it often creates another question. Psychologists sometimes describe this as rumination. Rumination is different from reflection. Reflection helps us to understand. Rumination keeps us going around and around in circles. One tends to move us forwards. The other tends to leave us standing still. Here's something I've noticed over the years. People often tell me, if I could just think about it a little longer, I'd finally work it out. And yes, sometimes that's true, but quite often they've already had all the information they need. They're simply hoping that one more lap around the same thought will produce a different outcome. It's a little like sitting in a rocking chair. There's plenty of movement, but you don't actually go anywhere. The writer Mark Twain is often credited with saying, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. Whether those exact words are his or not, the idea is worth considering. Our minds are remarkably good at preparing us for futures that never arrive. So, how do we begin interrupting overthinking? Not by forcing the thoughts away. The harder we push them away, the more attention we often give them. Instead, we can become curious. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me understand something? Or am I simply revisiting the same ground? Those are very different questions. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do isn't think harder. Take a walk. Make a cup of tea. Speak to someone you trust. Get some sleep, because perspective often arrives when the mind is given permission to rest. That doesn't mean the problem disappears. It means you return to it with fresh eyes instead of a tired mind. As we come to the end of the episode today, here's something you might notice over the next few days. The next time you catch yourself going over the same thought again, pause and ask yourself, am I moving towards an answer, or am I simply going around the same circle? The answer might tell you more than the thought itself. Thank you for listening. Until next time, take care of yourself.